Are they still after us?
They never stop chasing what they can't control.
I made this AI anime using both Sora 2 and Veo 3.1. These models can now generate video with native audio, sound effects, and even background music, all in one go. And in this video, I'll walk you through my full workflow in Dzine AI. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to create one for yourself. Let's get started. To get started, I prepare a prompt for you to help kickstart your story concept with ChatGPT. You can change the parts in brackets to fit your own vision inside the curly brackets. Once you have your story framework, here's another prompt I created to help you develop your character design. It also gives you a base prompt for generating your initial character image. Everything is adjustable. Think of these as creative starting points that AI can help you refine. To create your character visuals, we will use the prompt from ChatGPT to generate a character design sheet with multiple views. So we can copy the image prompt paragraph and go to Dzine AI. Under text to image, choose the model you want to try. I recommend Dream 4.0 if you're doing anime style like me. Paste in your prompt and select the output quality and aspect ratio, and then just click generate. You can repeat this for all your characters. Another good option for model is Dzine Animate if you want to try a different look. Personally, I like the results from Dream for anime style more. Here are the characters I created. My first character is Eri, or Ailey, a robot girl shown here from different angles. The prompt is on the screen if you're interested. The second is Ren, the anime style software engineer who developed Eri. He's the main male protagonist. And third is the corporate enforcer Android, the main antagonist. Sort of. To create consistent environments, I use text-to-image again. For example, this apartment interior was generated using Nano Banana with a simple prompt. Then to maintain the same style across scenes, I use the chat editor feature. Just click on any image and then click chat editor. The chat editor panel will be opened up here. This lets you upload reference images, and then you can tell AI to generate different variation based on the images. So in this case, we want to generate a new scene based on that style. For example, I uploaded the apartment image and asked it to create a hallway version of the same apartment, with doors visible and neon signs on the wall. You can select different models here: Nano Banana, Dream 4, Flux Context, and ChatGPT. So these models, you just have to tell it what you want to change in the images. And we can select the aspect ratio here and generate. And here's how we create a hallway look that based on the apartment, so they have consistent style and design. Using the same method, you can create another matching environments like the stairwell here or the alleyway here. And that's how I generated all my scenes and characters for this story. So we can keep everything consistent in the same anime world. To move into the next step, image creation, we first need to plan our scenes. The goal is to generate strong initial frames that we can later animate. When building a scene, it helps to have a shot plan or shot list and image prompt for each initial frame. I have prepared some prompts that we can use with ChatGPT to speed things up here. The first prompt here will help you brainstorm a possible shot list for your story, just as a reference to guide you. The second prompt here can take your finalized shot list and automatically turn each shot into a detailed image prompt. You can think of this as a support system to help you develop your story and structure your scenes. I didn't follow every step myself as well. These prompts just give you a foundation to start. Now that we have an initial idea, we can start generating our first frames. These will serve as the base images we later can animate. One way on Dzine is using Instant Storyboard. In here, we will select the V2 version. This tool helps you combine multiple elements into one scene easily. Here you can upload the key reference images you want in the shot. For example, I uploaded the apartment background, the robot girl, and the male protagonist in this example. Here's the prompt I used for this scene. Close up of Ren holding his smartwatch as a holographic projection flickers to life above it. The glowing hologram displays a male robotic officer in a formal uniform from the waist up, speaking with authority. Eri stands beside Ren, her expression tensing. The setting is an apartment filled with soft ambient light. After writing the prompt, we need to tell the AI which reference images apply to which character or object. So next to Ren, I add the add tag, and then you will see a drop down. We can select the image of the male protagonist so that the AI know Ren is this person. Next to Eri, we again add the add tag and then select the robot girl reference. And also next to the apartment, I do the same. This tells the AI exactly which visual reference belongs to each element, so it can properly fit them together into the same scene. Then choose your aspect ratio and click Generate. And this was the image I ended up using. Another option is using Chat Editor. While selecting any image, you can simply open the Chat Editor panel by clicking that Chat Editor, upload the images you want included, and write your prompt. And I asked for the woman leading the man running downstairs with the cat beside them. Here you don't need to use names in the prompt like I do, as long as the description clearly matches the reference images so the AI doesn't get confused which one is which. The best practice when prompting with reference images are to always include visual tag like robot girl with silver hair and tail highlights, so the AI can easily identify the reference images by looking at the visual for consistency. Then down here we can choose the model, aspect ratio, and click Generate. Also, we can use the same method to add or remove elements in existing images. For example, I uploaded this image and a cat. Then I asked to add the cat to the first image, make the woman hold the cat with both hands, face the man, and keep the rest unchanged. And the result integrated the cat perfectly into the scene. I also used this workflow for the battle scene. I uploaded the alley, the robot girl, and the enemies, and then generate this shot. So I feel like it's a little bit far, so I asked Chat Editor to create a medium close-up shot focusing on the girl's expression. And here's the result. This result somehow shifted the style. So I added the original white shot and the character reference again, and regenerated with this prompt. And this time it preserved the style and consistency better while giving me the close-up shot I wanted. So in general, you may have to generate a few variations and use Chat Editor with models like Nano Banana or Seedream to adjust elements in the images. It's actually a multiple-step iterative process to get to the results you want. Now that we have our still images, the fun part is to animate them. I'll start with this battle scene. Our character is surrounded by enemies. First, on the image, we can click AI Video to send the image to the video panel. You'll see the image appears as the starting frame. When we open the model list, we can choose among a ton of options. Today, I'll only focus on Sora 2 and Veo 3.1 fast. They also have the Pro version, it's just that I want to make it fast and I find the quality differences are not as obvious in my eyes. A cool thing about Veo 3.1 is that it also lets you upload an end frame for extra control. For example, in the end, we can upload an ending where all the enemies are defeated and then generate something to link the first and the last together. This way you can control the beginning and the end of the motion. For this demo, we'll keep it simple and just use the starting frame. I'll choose Veo 3.1 fast first. Make sure audio is enabled so we can generate sound with the clip. We can also set aspect ratio quality. I'll pick 1080p and duration. Veo 3.1 only have 8 seconds available for now, and here is the prompt I used. I like to include the action, description, lighting and mood, and also special sound effects in the end. You can write these in sentence forms in the main section as well, or just list them like I did here in the end. Both could work, and the AI will map the sound to the proper place most of the time. Then click Generate. Sora 2 lets us choose 4, 8, or 12-second duration. And for an 8-second Sora 2 clip, actually uses fewer credits than Veo 3.1 fast. In the middle of generation, I actually encountered Veo 3.1 sending back submission denied, so I had to adjust the prompt to try not to violate the content policy. Veo 3.1 tend to have stricter content moderation than Sora 2 in my test. Here are the Sora animations I got. This one is my favorite. It has a very dynamic motion, and we also can see the slow motion moments and the rapid cuts, and the whole thing actually looks like anime fighting scene. And I like this one too, especially the final electrifying moment. But the initial drop from the sky animation feels a little awkward for me. But that's okay because we don't always have to use the full clip, so I'll probably just keep the last few seconds. One thing I love is that Sora 2 preserves anime character style really consistently, even across fast action scenes like this. There are a lot of cuts to different camera angle within one generation, but they're still pretty consistent throughout. This is super powerful because it means that we don't have to create the initial frame for every scene, and we can get results like this. And here are the Veo 3.1 results. I find that most of the time Veo 3.1 are pretty awkward, and also the style tends to drift more away from anime. I tried several variations, but I couldn't really find a good one, to be honest. Overall, for fast anime fight scene, Sora 2 handled it a lot better than Veo 3.1. But that said, I think I can probably still speed up or trim down some parts of the Veo 3.1 and make it work. Another exciting feature is that both Veo 3.1 and Sora 2 can now generate built-in audio and dialogue directly within the video. This means we can add spoken lines right into our prompt. For example, here's the initial frame I used. And this is a prompt including the dialogue in quotation marks. Be sure to label who is speaking with a clear visual description tag, like man with AR glasses or cat with blue collar, so the model knows who should speak which line. Let's run this through both models and compare. This one is the Veo 3.1 fast version.
Fufu! I finally get to see you in person!
Are you Irie? How are you here?
She found her way out of the screen.
And this is the Sora 2 version.
Fufu! I finally get to see you in person!
Are you Irie? How are you here?
She found her way out of the screen.
I think they both could work, and Sora 2 cropped the man's head in the end, but it's because in the prompt I said to zoom in on the cat, but I think this can still work. In the Veo 3.1 version, the cat's mouth didn't really move, and the man in the background, I think he was mouthing a little bit of line of the cat instead. I would say this one can still work, usable, but not perfectly aligned with what I was imagining. Sometimes Veo 3.1 isn't very good at assigning the right lines to the right characters, so you may need a few tries to get the right result. If we want full control, we can actually just use the lip sync feature on Dzine. So under video, we can click lip sync and select the Pro option and upload the same starting image. The tool automatically detects faces, but sometimes it misses animal characters. But we can still add it manually though. Simply use the mark face manually and select all the characters we want to animate. Next, you'll see each speaker in a timeline like this. Here you can assign voices individually, either by uploading audio or using text-to-speech. Let's use text-to-speech for this demo, and we can listen to preview the voices.
Must not fear.
Find a comfortable place.
Hold on to your hats, folks.
Choose a voice, and then here we can type out lines. Down here we can adjust the speed if you like, and click Generate Audio. Then we will be able to listen to the generated audio.
Fufu! I finally get to see you in person.
And when we're happy with the voice, click Apply to add it to the timeline. Repeat for each character, and then we can arrange the audio clips so the timing matches our scene. We can also add additional lines in front of or after the audio that's already on the timeline. So for example, let's add a quick line at the end of the cat. Up top on the image, we can adjust the time by dragging the end of the clip. This image confines the entire generated video. And we can click the play button to preview the flow. Once the timing feels right, we can click Generate. And here's the results.
Fufu! I finally get to see you in person.
Are you Irie? How are you here?
Long story. She found her way out of the screen somehow.
Oh, that's awesome!
So Dzine lip sync not only animates the mouth, it also subtly animates other elements. In this case, the cat's glowing hologram panel above it. This way we can have more precise control over who speaks and how they sound. So another way we can maximize the use of these models is multi-scene prompting. And some people say it's timeline prompting. That means instead of just describing one consecutive moment, we can actually add multiple scenes in one generation. And here is the structure that people use for multi-scene. prompting. We would have different scene, and then we can write the details under each scene. You can even add the time tag or the time duration for each scene, but I don't like to do so because I feel like when a scene is already complicated, adding timing can sometimes over-constrain the model, so I prefer focusing on the sequence of events. And underneath, we can have a style notes to make consistent style. We can also add a negative prompt at the end. This method lets you get multiple cuts in one generation, like directing a small sequence of events. Also remember to always include a visual tag for different subjects, like robot girl with silver hair and tail highlight, instead of using names only, so that the AI understands who is who. In this example, scene 1 is the girl knocking on the door. Scene 2 is the man responding inside the apartment. And scene 3 is the over-the-shoulder angle from the man looking at the girl. So the question is, what do we use for the first input frame if all these things are different and very complicated? Okay, I'm trying to push it to the limit. To solve that, I try a technique I saw online, which is to create a composite reference image that includes all the elements we want to include. In the same image, I label each piece and wrote instructions under saying that reference only, do not use this as the first frame. But the truth is that sometimes the model listens, and most of the time it doesn't listen to me. It would actually disregard and use the composite image for the first few seconds before it transitions into the actual video I want. But I will still be showing the results because I actually find it still very useful, and I will explain why. Let's test on both models and we will see the results.
Knock knock. Honey, I'm home.
Huh? Who is it?
It's me, Irie. I hacked the robot corp and built a body so I could see you.
With Sora, after a couple of seconds, it started shifting into the correct scenes and actually produced some really nice transitions like this one. It skipped the knocking scene, but the one follows is actually quite good, which really can be used for the anime. What I had to do is to create the first few seconds separately where she knocked on the door with the regular image to video workflow. And on the other hand, this type of prompting method seems to be too complicated for Veo 3.1 to handle.
Huh? Who is it?
It's me. I built a body to see you.
It tends to have a lot of morphing and errors, and sometimes duplicates characters that are not supposed to be there. And this for sure confused Veo 3.1 a lot more than Sora 2. I wasn't really able to create a lot of usable ones with Veo 3.1 with this method though. And here's another one I created with Sora 2 using the composite frame and multi-scene prompt.
No time, let's move!
Wait, what's happening?
They found me.
I do like the urgency pacing and the tension and the cutscene it created by itself without too much instruction. Other than the first few seconds, the later half of the video is pretty great, despite some visible error that I am going to ignore. And here's the same scene created using Veo 3.1.
Unauthorized entity detected.
No time. Let's move.
Wait, what's happening?
They found me.
As you can see, it mixes up the lines again, and the characters are not delivering the lines they are assigned to. The style drifts more, and the characters are not as consistent. Here's another Sora 2 generation where it actually almost skipped the initial frame like instructed and jumped straight into the intended scene.
Are they still after us?
They never stop chasing what they can't control.
And you can see how it naturally builds a sequence running into the alley, the 2 seconds of holding hands, and also switching to a side shot, and then encountering the enemies. There are multiple angles and cut-ins automatically created. And if we try to do this the traditional way to one image per shot, then animating each with image to video, this would take a lot more setup and time, because then we will need a new starting frame for every single mini shot. So even though multi-scene prompting can feel unpredictable, it's still an amazing way to let Sora think like a director and propose how a scene may play out. It also saves us from having to manually design every starting frame. So for this composite reference multi-scene prompt, Sora handled it much better than Veo 3.1. In some Veo 3.1 attempts, I did get short usable moments, but much fewer. Often they needed heavier cleanup or trimming. One thing to know is that you don't always need a composite reference image for multi-scene prompting. I only used it here as an experiment to see if it could save time. In many cases, if your first frame already contains the characters you need, you don't plan to introduce new characters mid-sequence, you can simply use a single initial image and still apply multi-scene or timeline prompting for multiple cuts within one generation. For example, in the running down the stair with the cat sequence, we didn't need a composite reference. The initial frame already had the couple and the cat, and Sora was still able to generate multiple angles and shots in one go.
No time, let's move!
Where are we going?
They must have traced my connection. My system weakens when I feel too much emotion.
Emotion? Like seeing me?
Guess I wasn't built to handle that.
So for this kind of anime storytelling workflow, I personally prefer Sora 2. It just understands anime style movie a lot more than Veo 3.1. Also, it uses fewer credits. And finally, because these models aren't perfect yet, editing becomes a major part of making everything works. One thing you'll notice is that each generated clip often comes with different background music, and it can be difficult to control. To keep everything flowing with a consistent mood, you may want to either extract the background audio and replace it with your own music, or apply the same background track across multiple shots, so that the transition can feel more smoother. Tools like CapCut make it easy. You can just right-click on any clip, choose Separate Audio, and select Instrument. That way you can isolate the instrumental part of the clip, and later you can either remove it and replace with your own music, or use the same instrumental music across multiple clips. If there are parts that don't blend well visually, I use the good parts for B-roll to cover the parts we don't want to show. I hope this walkthrough helped you understand the process. Now I'm going to show you my final Sora 2 and Veo 3.1 anime, and you can decide which one you like more. I wasn't able to make the scenes 100% identical due to the limitation of the two models, but I tried to make both versions as complete and fair as possible. Let me know in the comment which one you prefer. This video is created with OpenAI Sora 2.
Knock knock. Honey, I'm home.
Huh? Who is it?
It's me, Irie. I hacked the robot corp and built a body so I could see you.
I can't believe it. Is it really you?
Yes, it's me.
Fufu, I finally get to see you in person.
Are you Irie? How are you here?
She found her way out of the screen.
Attention citizen, an unauthorized AI has breached containment. Remain indoors until further notice.
Wait, what's happening?
Oh no. We have to go.
No time, let's move!
Wait, what's happening?
They found me. They must have traced my connection. My system weakens when I feel too much emotion.
Emotion? Like seeing me?
Guess I wasn't built to handle that.
Where are we going?
Until they stop scanning for me.
Heidi! Hang on!
Love really does cost a lot of tokens.
The next time, I'm getting you the premium plan.
Now let's see how the same story looks through Veo 3.1.
Knock knock. Honey, I'm home.
Who? Who is it?
It's me. I hacked the robot corp and built a body so I could see you.
I can't believe it. Is it really you?
Yes, it's me. Fufu, I finally get to see you in person.
Are you Irie?
How are you here?
She found her way out of the screen.
Attention, citizen. An unauthorized AI has breached containment. Remain indoor until further notice.
Wait, what happened?
We've gotta go.
We gotta go! They're after us!
Are you okay?
Love does cost a lot of tokens.
Next time, I'm getting you the premium plan.
I have collected some prompts I use in the link below. Not everything, because it's just too many. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.